Hello, my name is Akshat Nauriyal and I'm an independent artist from New Delhi. I work with technology like augmented reality. I'm a filmmaker and also a musician. And I'm also the co-founder of Start India Foundation. The reality is that in the world that we live in today, the digital devices are very easily accessible. All of our lives are sort of intertwined with technology. But the physical reality is also still around us. So in a way, it's an interesting sort of mix with the work that I'm trying to do and that I do. I try to find a balance between work that sort of is very tangible while works that are very digital. And I guess somewhere in the middle of all of this, I'm finding that common meeting point where with maybe the street art work, how we can integrate technology into that, and with sort of with technology, how we can bring the disruptive nature of public art and of say graffiti and the street art movement sort of back into each other and how they sort of relate to each other. So more about the audience. One has to kind of look at whom are you talking to and what the right medium for that is. So say with the street art work that we do, the audience is everyday people, and hence putting ideas and messaging and murals out in public space has a different kind of an audience and the way that they receive it, which is why the messaging also has to be aligned to that. With street art, we don't make overtly political statements because we're a foundation and we're an organization. And as that, we have no sort of leanings toward anybody, we're neutral. While as an individual, I have certain leanings, I have certain aesthetics, and I have certain ideologies that I want to follow and be able to implement. And the advantage with digital platforms is that one can sort of be very personal and create an identity about the things that they want to talk about, but also the people who are coming to sort of receive that art are also people then who are seeking that information and they're seeking that work as well. At a level, I've always had a very cynical opinion of sort of digital activism and taking a selfie and changing your display picture. Like, I've always been highly critical of it as well. But yet here I was creating a filter with which people could send a message of solidarity to the people of Kashmir. For me, the idea was to actually look at the medium in the way it exists today and base it on that merit. I was basing my understanding and my sort of ideology based on how I grew up and how the medium existed around me at that time. But fact is that these mediums are changing, these mediums are evolving. The number of people who are coming on these platforms daily is incredible. And that allows you to actually have a really the potential of that is immense, essentially. And the number of people that you can actually address and like reach out to is far larger than it has ever been before. So in that sense, I would hope that it has an impact. I'm not really sure how much of an impact it has on the on-ground movement itself or to the people actually directly affected by any of these things. But I definitely feel that it does give people and it empowers people to have a voice and to also be part of something which is much larger than them and participate in something with much larger than them. There have been several movements across the world that you can see, from the Arab Spring, which was totally mobilized online through Twitter, Occupy Wall Street, which you can debate the merits of it as well, but at least as a movement, it got a lot of people outside on the street, and all of them were digitally done, right? With whatever's happening with Greta Thunberg right now, and there's a sudden conversation about climate change. All of these things are being pushed online, and I think there's definite value to that. It is an echo chamber at the end of the day because you're only speaking to people who are like-minded in a lot of ways, and the people who aren't, you're very clearly seeing them because there's conflict happening and you know, trolls come and like there's all of those things as well. But like I said, there's three kind of things that can happen. One is that people will come and agree with you. The other is they will come and disagree with you and maybe an argument will happen. The third is that they may not even come and say something to you, but while they're scrolling through their timelines, it might have some kind of a subconscious sort of internal dialogue that may happen. So that has some merit, but to be able to link that person to the on-ground movement of two people who are working on the grassroots and make that bridge, I think that's where the echo chamber can sort of be broken, and it's a challenge. It's definitely not, it's not perfect, the system is not perfect, and I'm at no point saying that everything that I'm doing actually has a valid outcome. So most of the work that you saw was something which came from an idea which I had, which I wanted to be able to project in terms of either visuals or augmented reality. And that's sort of the inception point, right? But after it's created, you do expect, or hope at least, that people will also respond to it. Which is where the digital world is sort of, and the digital platforms that exist today are really interesting because, like I said, there's a whole bunch of captive audiences that exist there. Why I use Facebook and Instagram is for that reason with the augmented reality platforms, because they have a user base already. For most augmented reality, you have to publish an app which people have to download. So this kind of cuts the middleman in a lot of ways and gives me access directly to people. So in that sense, yes, the ideas come from a very personal place, but they become very public, and hopefully they're also something that resonates with a lot more people. technology, even though it's very mechanical and it's not human, but it can lead to a human response. And that's the sort of that's the dichotomy and also the point of intersection that I'm trying to explore, where how can technology also be used to be used as a tool to create empathy. There are certain times and certain moments in time when as individuals we have to take a stand for certain things, and I feel as creatives it is imperative to do that from time to time. So as a person, at least personally, and as an artist, I've sort of always been growing and I've always been evolving, and I'm still learning a lot of things in life, but I'm also responding to things that I see happening around me. And I feel that as I've grown older with more experience, I feel that I am able to at least articulate these thoughts a little better for myself and then for others. And I feel that that's also where the role of a creative comes, that as you're sort of maturing and growing, I think it's also your responsibility to a certain extent to be able to bring ideas which can help people have informed discussion. So I've been working with subculture since like 2010, 2011. I've been a drummer myself from much even earlier than that, so I was always involved in like the independent art scene in a lot of ways. And of course there's an evolution that happens, but with the political climate, I feel that what's also happened is that a lot of artists are also wary of putting out something that's critical of the government or which is slightly political because of the backlash. And I think that is something that needs to change. And I feel that as people, just people in general, forget artists also, we have to be able to stand for something. And I feel that's something that needs to sort of be looked at, and also that more people need to start taking initiative of it in their own capacity, even if it's having a conversation. I'm not even saying that you make artworks and you publish it. I'm saying just have informed conversations about things. And that I feel is something that's, there is an atmosphere of fear at times with anything that you're putting out. And that is not prudent, and that is also not, it's suffocating for a democracy.